What is up, nerds? It's me, your buddy pal, HeyArcher. Welcome back to HeyArcher episode 139, where we are. I feel like every week it's a lot has happened, but then not a lot has happened, but yet enough has happened to get us talking. We have She-Hulk, Game of Thrones, Batgirl controversy still, Ezra Miller controversy somehow still. We're going to talk about it. We got Anthony, we got Sal in the house. As Anthony likes to say, you know what? Actually, since Anthony's here anyway, why don't you say it?
Steve, roll that intro, please.
All right, nerds, welcome back. As I mentioned, Sal and Anthony are in the house. This episode of HeyArcher 139 is sponsored by Nerd Affiliated, the very site you are watching, listening to, all that fun stuff. Make sure you head to nerdaffiliated.com. Get a cool shirt like what Sal's wearing, like Anthony's wearing, but you can't see that. But also, make sure to head over to Know Your Craft, support Patrick, get some cool merch over there. Boys, how you doing this Sunday afternoon?
Doing all right.
I'm doing good.
Doing pretty good.
Nice.
I ended up burning through more of a show than I intended to, but that's because I was pleasantly surprised with how good it was. So we'll get to that.
Sal?
I'm having a similar experience, but a different show.
Ah.
So we got a lot to touch on.
I like that. So, by the way, if you are watching the YouTube channel, I apologize for any glitches. I'm having some Wi-Fi issues today, but let the soothing sounds of Sal just get you through the day. So we'll get to those shows. First up, we have Nerd News, following the format we've been doing for the last couple weeks. The biggest one to me, and actually, I just realized everything in Nerd News is DC Warner Brothers. So they continue week over week to be the headline. But one that I'm sad about, but yet oddly happy about, Young Justice, canceled, not coming back for season 5. Sal, do you want to kick off? Give us your thoughts. I know Anthony has some feelings on it.
Yeah, man, I don't know if that came soon enough. They probably should have axed it after season 3. I mean, it's good. Well, hopefully, whatever they're going to do forward, now they have the right idea.
Yeah, same. I'm trying to, as he said it, sorry, I was like, what happened in season 3? But yeah,
Exactly.
They should have, season 2 was definitely the best. And, I'm not going to say they had the right idea canceling it after season 2, because that was stupid, but they probably shouldn't have, even though we wanted it. It's like, you can't go back. So we wanted what we had, and then we thought we were going to get that, and it turned into just not. So yeah, I'm glad it's gone. Like I said, I made myself watch the last season, which ironically is the last season, and it was more out of obligation. And then throughout the season, there were sprinkles of good stuff, and then like the last arc was a good arc. I don't know if you guys have watched it, so I don't know if I'm allowed to say what it was.
You can go ahead.
Yeah, you might as well, because I'm watching it and I still don't know what's happening.
All right, so I mean, like the whole thing is
spoiler alert,
like
by the way, for anybody listening.
Spoiler alert, yes.
Timestamps down below.
So the whole thing is basically, it's a whole lot of separate stories, and it all eventually ties in with the introduction of General Zod and his crew and the Phantom Zone. You think Superboy is dead. Superboy gets blown into the Phantom Zone. He has no memory. He's injured, all this other stuff. So, nobody believes he's alive. The Legion of Time Travel gets involved because the Legion of Superheroes are involved. It also involves Zod and Ursa's son from the future coming back and doing, so it's a lot of time travel. It's just so spread out, and they'll do 3 episodes about that, and then they jump into Beast Boy and his horrible PTSD over watching Superboy die.
Yep.
or they're doing a treaty on New Genesis, and then you go back to that, or then there's like a little snippet in the episode that relates to the whole Zod stuff, but you got to watch. It just they try to involve too many people, too many other characters, and like the main guys like Nightwing, Tigress, Zatanna, they don't really show up until towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
So, and that's too long.
That
Like
is way
I
too
want to
long.
see them. I mean, I want to see them because that's who you built it off of. Like they didn't do Teen Titans because they did it already, but they didn't do Young Justice really because they started off with Nightwing and, excuse me, Dick Grayson, Robin, and all that stuff. So then then they very quickly decided to shoehorn all these other characters in, and yeah, it just got away from them. So I'm sorry. Sorry, but I'm glad it's not coming back.
So Sal, do you think, because Anthony brought up a good point, I thought about it yesterday, do you think this ruins the chances of them ever listening to the fans when it comes to bringing something back? Because specifically in Young Justice's, if that's the right way to say that, in that example, it's not like season 2 sucked and it got canceled. It was literally a merchandising, all that kind of stuff issue, which led to it being canceled, and then came back and we got a shitty product. So do you think this hurts our chances in the future of getting stuff back the way Young Justice, Snyder cut, all of that?
It's confusing the way it happened because season 1 and 2 were very good. And so it comes down to merchandising, right? So they can't sell toys, and so they cut it.
Mm.
But when you make season 3, you kind of like you flubbed it. So what are you trying to do? Are you trying to sell toys? Are you trying to tell the story you want to tell? I don't feel like there was much of anything. It's I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking because
But it,
they're like axing everything left and right.
well, that's the weird part, because they come back with the show. They finally give us what we want. There's the Comic-Con reveal, it's coming back. And then is this the show, like, are the last 2 seasons the show they really want to make the whole time, and DC stop them? Like, because if merchandising isn't the main drive anymore, like,
Yeah.
which iteration of the show is the truest, purest one? Like, I have no way to tell.
That's more your department than mine because I'm not really into the toy hunting thing,
Mm-hmm.
but you would know. I don't think they merchandised season 3 and 4 as much as they did the first 2. I
I
don't think
haven't
there was
seen.
that big of a push.
There's nothing out there for that.
Teen Titans Go had a bigger push than anything.
Yeah.
I think I remember seeing more Teen Titans Go stuff out there.
Yeah.
So if they weren't pushing the merchandising as hard from the beginning, then why change so much?
Yeah.
Maybe it is the story they wanted to tell.
Yeah.
At least the story they thought we wanted. I feel like they kind of did that with Wonder Woman 84. They told the story that they thought we wanted.
Well, Gal Gadot told us the story she thought we wanted.
Yeah.
Oh, she was executive producer on that too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first one that everybody enjoyed, dare I say loved, I think was a story by Zack Snyder. I think he was a story writer on that. So
Yes. Yeah, I believe that's correct.
just
Yeah.
saying.
So
Yeah. I don't
So-
know. It's so disappointing.
in so many ways, but yet also just good to know that it's gone. I think at the end of the day, I'm happier we got to this point versus never knowing the what if. Like, the what if question, I think, is the worst question. And at least we know it came back. They tried their best, fudged it up, but maybe we'll get something down the road.
Yeah. Maybe they'll get a unified animated universe rolling too.
Well,
That'd be nice.
They can't even get a unified live action going, which takes us
Well,
to...
I'm saying sorry.
Well, no, I was going to say, which takes us to just their problem in general. So Batgirl, apparently the main star, Leslie Grace, was offered a chance to come back and do Batgirl again, or potentially reshoot Batgirl or be involved in it. Um, I have up something from comicbook.com speaking on it. But Sal, you
Yeah, I
seem
think
to have more knowledge on it.
I think it was Big Freaking Robot that I saw it on. They
Mm,
had they had some insider baseball on what was going on, and so the new CEO of Warner Discovery, he axes it. He said it wasn't up to quality assurance, right?
mm,
But the movie was done. Everything was like, weren't they just waiting on a date? I think all the editing was pretty much finished, and there wasn't really much, maybe promotional stuff, but there wasn't much left.
mm,
And they axed the whole thing, and they reapproached Leslie Grace, and they're like, "Hey, we want to do this again." And I think she made a bit of a power move, and she told them no. She told them, "I'm
yep.
not doing it."
Mm.
Yep.
They didn't reveal anything after that. They didn't reveal if it was a pay cut. They didn't reveal not, like maybe like her terms changed. They don't reveal any of that. It's just that she was outright, no, I just wasted the last 8 to 12 months of my life, between getting in shape and recording and being on site, on scene. Um, yeah, she just like had enough and wasn't going to deal with it. She already made her movie.
Yeah. So, I mean, Anthony, if that was you, right? First of all, I guess I'll ask you: Do you believe they really saved us in the end by not releasing something if it's that bad, or are you just like release it, doesn't matter, just give us the movie?
No, I mean, if it's really that bad, then yeah, okay, they saved us. Like, in hindsight, Batman and Robin. If somebody had watched that
Mm,
and said, okay, it's not all about marketing, it's not all about toys, it's not about these cheesy one-liners. This is Batman. If somebody had said, we made a huge mistake, here's your checks, everybody go home, thanks, and start it again,
mm,
and then like later on after say they did that and then say we get Batman Begins, right? Just
mm,
this way we don't have to theorize what we would have gotten. Say they did that and then say Batman Begins with the same people involved happens a couple years sooner because they pulled the plug instead of the Batman franchise getting shot in the head. Uh, and then eventually they were like, oh, hey, for funsies, here's the movie we were going to make. Wouldn't this have been bad? If they showed us eventually and is Batman and Robin and we're holding it up next to Batman Begins or even Batman Forever and Batman Returns and all that, then you're like, oh, okay, wow, yeah, you guys smart. You
mm.
guys really, holy shit. Whew. It's like one of those things. But it's
There's a
hard to
big
say.
difference though. There's a big
Well, I'm
difference
saying
though.
it's hard to say how bad Batgirl was, or how good Batgirl was, or any of that,
In
because
your
we don't know.
scenario,
We've
I
seen
don't, in,
stills.
see, in your scenario, I don't think any of that matters because you're talking 20 years ago. Now we got streaming. Just put it out. You get a
Well,
million
well, no,
views.
no,
You
no.
get a
That's what
million
I'm
streams.
saying. Like that's what I'm saying. Like if they stopped it and then they moved on to Batman Begins, and then eventually they because like you're stopping it from like a quality control standpoint and from a business standpoint because you want to see your money come back. Yeah, you'll make something on this, but not right away, and you're going to get critically panned. You want to put out a good product, a cohesive product, if they really are moving towards a unified Marvel-esque universe and timeline. And then later on down the line, then for fun, they say, oh, okay, hey, by the way, this is the movie we were going to do, because yes, now there are other alternatives. They had to release it in the 90s because they couldn't afford to take that hit because there was, okay, there was video and DVD, but who knows if, they would have gotten their money back that way. So it's hard but to answer your question, I think it's hard for me to say if they saved us because we hadn't even seen a trailer. I mean,
Right,
trailers completely lie to us and mislead us all the time,
right.
but we hadn't even seen a trailer. We'd seen some stills. Like I know I was critical of her costume, but I was critical if that was like her final version, not like it looked good. It looked very true to the comic. Uh, I mean, I wanted to see what they did. So it's hard to say that they saved us from something that we only saw like leaked footage of at best, and like leaked like fan shot on site footage, not leaked from you know the actors or anything type of thing.
Now, now if you take like we got a current example of that. You could take Black Widow and Shang-Chi,
Mm.
Mm.
right? You have they took a gamble, right? They took which movie are we going to put out? And they decided to put out Black Widow. Sorry, they decided to put Shang-Chi in theaters and say, hey, uh, Scarlett, take your check. We're going to put it on Disney Plus. We don't have any faith in this movie, and just keep moving along. It, Disney already did it. Why wouldn't Warner Brothers try it?
Well, do you think this, using that because there was a lot of backlash with Scarlett Johansson when Black Widow came to streaming, like overpay and like they're screwing her over and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think even in this scenario, like Leslie Grace, in her saying no, does that potentially like save her? Like, does that make her more the hero, or in her? Would it have been better to just reshoot it, F it, it goes to wherever? Does it go to theaters? Like, how does she look at the end of the day in this case?
I think it makes her a hero because she's sticking it to the man, but it might be a little bit of career suicide in like at least the near future.
Yeah, because I
Unless
think
Disney decides to pick her up.
because I think like Scarlett putting her foot down and them still doing it anyway. I mean, she already has made her money, right? Like, I feel like she could do whatever and people will still hire her. But I think Leslie isn't far enough in the game yet to say like, no, I'm not doing this. And then
Yes, Scarlett Johansson was a trusted quality actress for 10, 15 years before they made the first Avengers movie.
yeah,
Well, 10 years maybe before they made the first Avengers movie.
yeah,
So it's like it's a different ball game.
yeah. I think it's such a tough one. I mean, I think once I see a movie that the current hierarchy has seen start to finish, if it's a great movie, then I might look back and say, all right, I believe them in that Batgirl probably was terrible. But if they release stuff that's not good, I'll be like, F it. You just screwed us out of more content.
Yeah.
Does that
Yeah,
make
well,
sense?
that's the thing. They're doing all this housekeeping and whatnot, and we don't have anything like we have to just hope that they actually know what the hell they're doing because we haven't seen them
We haven't seen anything.
put out anything yet. Like the first things we're going to see are, and I'm not saying in this order, Black Adam, Shazam 2, and possibly The Flash,
Which they probably didn't have anything to really do
which
with.
exactly, I mean, maybe they're going to retool it, but I mean, how much credit goes to them, versus the filmmakers. I mean, in any of this, how much credit goes to them versus the filmmakers? Like, they're the higher ups. They can say, do this, don't do this. But then it's the people involved, acting and directing and everything else, that actually have to like take that and make it work,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. But I mean, time will tell. But I think I mean, good for her. Because if they just said, oh, hey, you want to be her again down the line? No, like, but maybe they said in a not in your own movie, you're going to be in like the Bat Family movie, or here's how we're going to play it the next time around. And she was just like, no, I'm good, because I don't want to. How am I going to go from being a minor a movie, like, to my movie, to being in the background with like five other people in tights,
Mm.
you know, or maybe she was serious, funny in her movie. Maybe they wanted to make her transition over to like totally campy. Maybe they wanted to transition her over to being like as dark as Affleck was in Batman Superman, and she was just like, "Ooh, no, that's not the version of the character I want to play." So, I mean, either way, good for her, and I don't think it'll be career suicide just because there's so many outlets now for and like people aren't going to stand for that. Like, if she starts getting denied roles with Warner Brothers, or say Warner Brothers never wants to work for her again, one tweet or one Instagram post, hey, this is really weird, I auditioned for X, Y, and Z, and okay, great, other actresses went out, but it seems weird that WB won't look at me anymore. All she has to do is put that out there if they do that, and then they're going to be under a whole ton of scrutiny and pressure because that's how it is now. It's not like, they can't just necessarily blackball anybody and get away with it. I mean, hell, if they could, wouldn't they have done it to the next topic in nerd news?
Well, why don't you take us there? Ezra Miller,
yeah,
he
the
drops
Flash himself.
Finally drops a apology, which to me has the stench of Warner Brothers all over it. So,
oh yeah,
I mean,
he who cannot be
it
canceled.
wasn't even an apology.
Right.
It was like, I've only read. I mean, the only thing I've seen is like he was like, and I guess I gotta say they, whatever his pronouns are, is saying like, I'm suffering severe mental health issues.
Yeah.
No shit, and
yeah,
and that's like all I've seen. I haven't seen. Yeah, I'm sorry for. I think it said. I think the statement said like, I'm sorry for what I did. I'm suffering mental health issues. Period. That's it. It was the only thing I've seen is like the quickest little blurb of a apology, but there's no information. Like, okay, are you grooming people? Did you freaking assault people? Did you hold people up at gunpoint? Did you break into somebody's house? Was one story I think we heard, right? In Maine or something. He did armed robbery. So
Vermont.
it's really weird that Vermont, sorry. Yeah. So yeah, okay, yeah, sure. He issued an apology. I don't know, how the hell are you going to promote this movie? How are you going to do anything with this movie?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because I don't know. Part of me feels like it's not getting the buzz it should. Like,
Right.
I feel like if this was anybody else, this would be everywhere. I mean, yeah, like, look, a major outlet's going to pick it up and they're going to put it out. Maybe it'd make the headline for a day. But this is not getting as much attention as I thought it would. This should be everywhere, like a day-to-day basis. Like, hey, what's Ezra Miller up to now? It's
Well, but
I don't think it's getting enough buzz.
But is it not because he's just not that big of an actor?
That could be it too. That's actually a point my wife made when we were talking about it.
Yeah, it's like
that maybe he's not. All right, look, he's not Cavill. If this was Henry Cavill, then it'd be everywhere. If it was Ben Affleck has gotten in trouble for less, and it's made every newspaper across the country.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to list a whole bunch of actors, and I started to feel old because of who. So I'm not going to do that. Please don't make me do that. But it's like, is he a big movie star, or is he a movie star who's just been in a bunch of stuff? Because I mean, I know he's in the. I know it's not Harry Potter, but it's that
Fantastic
world.
Beast.
Yeah, I mean, he's not the main guy, right?
No.
So
no, he's an actor who's been in big movies. It's not. They're not his. That's not necessarily his movies.
So, and I mean, also part of it is
realistically, he played the Flash in one movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you want to count Dawn of Justice, but that movie was just, that's not his movie. He's in it for
that was a cameo.
a second. So he plays the Flash in one movie.
Snap, huh?
Who gives a shit about him?
Yeah, I think maybe it would have been bigger if the movie was already out and then the stuff was coming. Then people would know more. The average person probably doesn't know who he is, but I still think considering everything, I am still shocked it's not more out there, especially because he's involved in Fantastic Beast. But wrapping kind of the two stories, I immediately was thinking of Ray Fisher. Like Ray Fisher, he came out, he played Cyborg in Dawn of Justice and those movies. He came out talking about being mistreated and all this stuff, and we all thought at the time, yeah, he's out there, he's speaking his truth. People are going to listen to him. This is going to change things, and just like silence. So I think even with Leslie, going back to Batgirl, I think maybe it makes her look good for a hot second. I think she's going to be forgotten. And Ezra Miller in the Flash movie, I think another year, if they just stop kind of talking about it, or even just say, you know what, we're not going to release it because we're canceling Batgirl anyway. We're just going to cancel this one. As long as nobody in this movie is in Aquaman 2 or Black Adam or Shazam. I think if I was them at this point, you might as well just delete the whole thing, let people say, "Oh, what if," and they'll probably just forget about it in a year.
Yeah, happens in video games all the time.
Yeah, yeah, and again, it's sad because people who are involved here, and children, but
yeah,
Ezra Miller. When maybe there'll be a week where we don't talk about him. We'll see.
It'll probably be the week the movie finally comes out. We'll probably be like, this, what?
Yeah.
And then we won't even want to, like, so bad we won't even want to review it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
who are we kidding? We're gonna review it.
We're gonna review it. Yeah.
I mean, that comes down to the Batgirl thing. You mentioned it last. One of you guys, I don't remember who it was, said it last week on the Ramble. Like, we will watch it.
Yeah.
It could be a horrible dumpster fire of a movie, and we'll watch it.
Marvel still, or Fox still dropped not
X-Force, New Mutants.
New Mutants.
Yeah.
That shit still came out. I mean, come on. How
Every
bad
time I
could
see it on
Batgirl have been?
HBO, I change the channel.
So bad. So bad. I made it through the whole movie too. I don't know how, but
God bless you.
man, that was an experience.
Well, I'll tell you, I watched Batman v Superman twice. I paid to see it twice. Like, we'll watch him.
Yeah.
I paid to see Thor twice.
You're alone on that one.
You're
I'm
like Mother
stupid,
Teresa. You're something else.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we talk about some stuff that we potentially are liking, and we'll roll into the what I'm watching segment, in this case, what we're watching. First thing on the list, something that we've not seen yet. Just want to see if you guys are excited or not. House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones prequel series coming out. Any excitement from the group on this one?
Yeah, big time. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know who's in charge over there, because Weiss and Benioff did a great job in the first 6 seasons, and then they started to trail off. So I don't know. I'm not uncomfortable if they were still involved. I don't think they are, but hopefully, whoever it is has the same love of the source material that those guys had. I mean, their biggest problem was they ran out of source material in the original run.
Is this show like, because it's a prequel, but are there books that they're pulling from to do this show? Do we know?
I don't think so. I think it's just there's a long enough history from the original run of books. I don't believe there's anything else. And you're talking 200 years in the past.
Oh wow, I didn't know it was that far.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anthony, do you care at all?
Not really. Like I was saying to you guys before, and real quick, Game of Thrones got going when I was in the military. I didn't have cable or even the TV at the time, and so I didn't watch it. And then I came back and I was getting my life together, and I didn't watch it. And then I was like, oh, I should probably start at the last season starting. Didn't happen. Said I was going to still do it. The series finale happened, and everybody was just like, "Oh my God, don't go back! Don't go wasting your time." And that kind of, and then like a whole lot of other stuff came out. So I hope it does well for people who do enjoy it. I hope it's good, but I don't have anything. I don't have anything invested in it. It's not. I'm not going to be tuning in tonight with everybody else.
Yeah. Instead of tuning in tonight, you should probably watch the first season. Look, seriously, it catches a lot of heat.
Well, I've heard it
catches a lot of heat because of season 7 and 8, and they kind of like lost track on how to wrap it up, and it almost felt like HBO Warner was putting too much pressure on them to wrap it up, because in reality they needed like another 2 or 3 full seasons. There were a couple of story arcs that got left behind. There were a couple of story arcs they weren't pushing fast enough, and that's what ended up hurting the show. But the first 5 seasons are like, the first 5 seasons are like magical. It's unbelievable.
So our mutual friend Josh, we were roommates at the time, and he had the box sets for seasons 1 and 2, I want to say. So I think I had started watching season 1, because that's where Sean Bean's in. And at a certain point, I stopped and then restarted, and I think I skipped DVDs. Like I thought I was further in than I really was. So I was like watching it, and the DVDs came with a map of the world and like family trees and all that stuff. So I'm sitting there in my room. It's on TV. I've got the map in my hand. I've got hookah on my left side. I have whiskey on the right side, and I'm like watching it with like pencil, and like, all right, this person's that. All right, they're referencing this thing. This person's that thing. And then I was like, what am I doing? I need a freaking. This is like homework to try to figure out who's connected to who, where they live, and all. And I was like, I'm out. I was like, I'm out.
Oh, but they hooked you. They hooked. You got sold on the whole thing, and you backed out once you got
And I
involved.
backed out. Yeah, but and you know the thing is too, like I know all the major plot points because I still watched reviews and pop culture. Like the Red Wedding was everywhere, so there's no way around seeing that. So that's where I'm like, if I watched it now, would I actually be invested in it? I don't know. But this one, fresh start, 200 years in the past, according to what you were saying. So I think I'll give it a watch and see if I can get into it. If not, I will.
I'm gonna watch it.
Something that I have not finished watching that I've been waving the flag on, as my voice breaks again. Stargirl season 2. I think Anthony has finished it.
No,
Okay.
that's
No, I haven't. I haven't watched. I watched episode 1, and that was about it.
Okay. Anthony?
that was the show. That's the show I'm saying I ended up burning through most of without meaning to. I'm happy I have. I just didn't think I was going to want to like keep watching it the way I have. I want to say I'm on episode 10, and I think there's 13 this season.
Yeah, I think it's 13.
And same thing with Superman and Lois. Wow, like I'm shocked that this is something that made the move to CW and survived quality wise. And yeah, just like with Superman and Lois, I'm enjoying the hell out of the season. I think I actually might be liking this a little bit more than Superman and Lois, just because Superman and Lois,
Wow.
like, I'll talk about it when I want to finish this, and then I want to talk about both of them together. But real quick, like, did minor spoilers ish for Superman and Lois, not like just like
Ah,
tone wise. Eh, it like Superman and Lois at a certain point, I feel like they're getting a little silly, or maybe not silly is not the right word, but like they're getting like a little ahead of themselves,
Mhm.
if that makes sense. And then, but with this, like I feel like with Stargirl, rather this with Stargirl, like I say, I'm like 3 or 4 episodes from the end, and I haven't felt that. I've enjoyed it the entire time. I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go. And then like, uh, when the villain of season 2 shows up and does its thing, I was just like, oh wow, they like committed, and like I was shocked that they committed to what they committed to. I'm
Mhm.
trying not to spoil, and the tone and like and just I'm really happy with it, and I'm really glad that both shows for the most part, uh, Stargirl so far it's an entirety, and Superman for the most part survived the CW move because I was worried, and I refused to watch it week to week. I wanted to wait till they were all on HBO Max. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I'm loving it so far, and and both shows I will say just look great.
Yep.
Like look great.
Yeah.
They kept the production quality.
It's weird. I don't know why these shows still aren't as widely talked about. I think maybe people watch them and just watch it in silence, like of their home, and it just doesn't come up.
yeah.
But I feel like the only time I hear about these shows is like us as a group talking about them because we're all, such DC marks. But for the most part, I don't hear people in the masses talking about it at all.
I don't get that because Tyler Hoechlin, he's lining up to be my favorite Superman. I think he blows Cavill out of the water. I mean, you
DC got him.
Did we? DC? No, that was actually Cavill, who really
Yeah.
is Superman, is
You just
outside his house, and he just lasered Sal's house out of existence. So,
that's
R.I.P.
hilarious.
Sal. Before he flies down here, I'm a huge fan, Mr. Cavill. Uh,
So
oh,
Henry
Would you
did
hey,
bounce
you're
not
me on?
get him.
alive.
Would you bounce me on purpose, or that was a technical difficulty?
No, we thought Superman got you. We thought Henry Cavill actually
Mm,
showed up and like wiped out your house.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know what happened. Something dropped. Something with our cameras dropped out.
Mm.
No, I like Tyler Hoechlin a lot. I think he's my favorite Superman. And I know that's controversial, but you could fight me on it.
He's
Um,
really good, but they've given him a lot more to do
right.
than Cavill's gotten.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's
I'll
the other
just throw
thing.
that out there. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to take away from him. From uh, uh, shit. I can't even. You just said his name. Superman and Lois is Superman. I'm
Tyler
not trying to
Hoechlin.
take away
Hoechlin.
from him. Yeah, he's gotten a lot more to do than Cavill has, but he's real. He's really good. Like he's not. I believe he's Superman, even though he's not like a 7 foot tall friggin' mountain.
Yeah.
Which in some ways he's drawn. It's like, how do you not know he's Clark Kent is him? He's also a friggin' mountain of a man, no matter how much he slouches or compresses his spine.
Yeah, that was Steve's point about it
Hmm.
with Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, another show that I feel like is not really out there, but you guys have dabbled in it, some further than others. Sandman.
yes,
How are we liking Sandman?
The fact that that show's not getting enough buzz makes me want to throw the bar across the room. It's it's good. It's damn good, and it's comic accurate for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
It's there. I mean, he's supposed to. Morpheus is weird. Dream is supposed to be just an all-around weird guy, and I don't get how it's not getting the buzz that it should.
yeah, that show again. I feel like this is my common praise for a lot of these things. It looks good, and like Sal said, it really is so comic accurate. It's not even funny, and
Mm-hmm.
like there's stuff they do. I think it's episode like 3 or 4. I can't
Mhm.
elaborate on it. If are we doing no spoilers? I can't
We're
say.
doing no spoilers.
Yeah,
Like,
we'll do no
all right,
spoilers.
all
It's
right.
only out
So
like
like,
2 weeks.
yeah, okay. So like in episode like 3 or 4, like there's something that happens, and it's just like the way they handled it. I was expecting like this big epic type of thing. If I didn't read the book, I would have been expecting that. So I was like, oh, how are you going to handle this on screen? The way they handled it was perfect. It's again, Sal, I think, has a hint what I'm talking about by now. Maybe
Yeah.
it's comic accurate, and the way they portrayed it on screen works. Like it didn't have to be like this big over the top thing, which I'm glad they didn't do because that's not the book. If you've read the book, that's not the character. But like I was worried, oh God, are they going to change it up for the sake of it being like live action and like you have to have a big over the top thing? But it's not. It's very good. It's very accurate. Don't watch it if you're depressed
Yeah.
because it talks about real shit and well, as real as you can get in a series where the main character is the king of dreams. Uh, but yeah, no, I'm almost done with that too. Actually, I think I got two left of that one.
Yeah, I'm about
So,
halfway through. I'm up to episode 5.
and I think they released some sort of like special already on it. Like I think the last episode that's out, I could be wrong. I think I saw it was like it's not like the season ends and then like they just release something else. It's kind of like not necessarily a teaser for season 2, but it's just like something different.
Mm.
Or I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think I read that.
I mean, you and I are also like big Neil Gaiman fans too. So anything that has his name slapped on it, I'm probably going to give it a chance.
Yeah, like if you haven't read his books in general, like even beyond like he's written stuff not because this is obviously it's a DC property. He's written stuff non superhero-y that's still like very heavy. It's totally fiction and like deals with like like one of his books is called American Gods, which they actually also made a show out of on Stars, which I would watch. I just don't have Stars. But the book is about basically the old gods being like Odin and Zeus, like all those quote unquote old gods versus the new gods that man's made, which is like at the time I think the book was written in the 80s or the 90s. So it's like the new gods are like technology and like greed and well not greed but like technology and it's been a while. I can't remember the other ones, but like I feel like capitalism, I feel like is a god, like because and maybe because it's the '80s, so like everybody was so like Gordon Gekko,
Mm.
like there's the god of capitalism, and like it's the new versus the old, and like there's this guy Shadow who gets released from prison, and you're like, well, what the hell does he have to do with any of this? And it's crazy. It's really good. So hopefully the show did it justice. I have to watch that eventually. Maybe Stars will do it five. Hey, try it for 5 days and see if you like it, and I'll just spend 5 days watching the show if it takes me that long.
Yeah.
So
It's funny how you guys are talking so highly of DC properties in the same conversation. We were utterly bashing DC properties. And
well,
just so
it's
opposite.
I love
weird.
DC. I love a lot of DC stuff.
It's they can do stuff right. It's just that for some reason, probably because like the major properties they want to have such a stranglehold on, so they can market it, so they can get toys, this and that, these and those. And then with something so, I mean, I don't know how well known it is, Sandman in general, that series, they'll probably like, yeah, all right, whatever, do what you want. If we make any money off of it, it's fucking Sandman. So any money is better than the no money we're making right now type of deal.
Which is weird because Sandman's a Vertigo imprint, and the WB Shield is all over the TV show, but it's on Netflix. And I know they've
Mm.
been working on it for a long time, maybe well before HBO Max was a thing. It might have still been HBO Go, but I don't understand how you didn't like work something out with that contract to get Sandman onto HBO Max. I know they were
Yeah.
talking about making the show for like the last 15 years. I mean, but I don't know. I thought they would have done something to pull it over to HBO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, well, I put on an episode the other day. I wasn't in the mood. Like I wasn't in the right mindset, I think. So I made it like
Yeah.
15 minutes, and I was like, I'm gonna go watch Willow because I have not watched Willow in forever. To the extent
Well,
where
still,
I wasn't sure if I even saw it. And then as I'm watching it, there's things that I'm like, oh yeah, that happens. Oh yeah, that happens. But like,
no,
it's been so long, so I
Willow
haven't
holds
done it.
up. Willow is still good.
Yeah. So I'm currently watching that. So let's, since I brought up the Disney app, we will conclude what we're watching and go into the review section, even though we've kind of reviewed everything. But we're going to spend some time on something that I think we all do not agree on. She-Hulk. Episode 1 has dropped. Anthony and I recorded an episode of Rambling the day before it dropped. It has now dropped. Why don't we let Sal lead the way on this one?
Okay.
All right. So, I mean, as long as my camera's not going to disconnect again.
I mean, my camera
it,
disconnected also, so I feel like it's just going around.
Well,
I
my
have
camera never
issues.
connects, so
Yeah.
God bless you, child. It has issues, but I liked it. I was surprised after all the stuff that I read and some review videos I watched about how much better it was
Mm-hmm.
than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good. I mean, it's not great.
Mm-hmm.
But I was still entertained by it.
Anthony?
kind of like I said during Aaron's live stream, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. It was much better. It looked much better than I thought it would. Like my main concern, I don't know much about the character, so my main concern was literally how it looked because like the trailers CGI just looked like dog shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I said it in the chat after seeing her on screen for like the first time as She-Hulk. It's like, this doesn't look bad. And then more time passes, she's She-Hulk more. It still didn't look bad. So maybe I don't know what happened with the trailers. Maybe they listened to us. This an example of them listening to us and it working out, and they retooled it a bit. Even though I think they said at one point, no, we're not going to do that. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I was like, it's not perfect, but it's much better than I thought it was going to be, and we can get into like issues I had with it in a minute. But yeah, for the most part, like my main concern was put to bed after watching the episode, which is the CG didn't look like shit.
So I guess we'll get Sal's number score, but I'll give my quick thought just to round the group. didn't care for it whatsoever.
Really?
It, I think I still ran into it with. I lowered my bar. I did lower my bar on it, and I was like, okay, I do want this to be a comedic show. I do want this to be a lighthearted show. Like I want Harvey Birdman attorney at law. Like I went into it saying, okay, despite my being done with Marvel comedy, this is the property that's supposed to have it, so I'm gonna go into it just expecting it. I'm ready for it. And I just thought it was just a bad show. I was like, between how she got her powers, why she even ended up in a bar, I just thought the whole thing was just a mess. And then she does her speech, which, again, there's valid points in the speech, but when it was done, I was like, I didn't care about anything I saw. I thought the last segment was just dumb as well, but I was like, I just didn't care. Her being stronger than the Hulk, I don't remember if that's true, but they're definitely like nerfing the Hulk. I feel like he was way too underpowered for my liking in this.
I think you misread that.
Maybe.
I think you got a bad read on that.
But what I cannot do, and as I joked, Anthony was fired. I cannot give it an 8 out of 10. It gets a 6 out of 10
No.
best for me, and 8 out of 10 is reserved for Loki episodes, WandaVision episodes, a couple episodes of Falcon Winter Soldier. Like those shows had strong 8 out of 10s. This one, even though it's different, I had to give it a 6 at best.
Yeah, I
Just
agree
to
with
be
your
clear-
assessment.
Wait, real quick, just to be clear, when you say the last segment, you mean the last segment in the court or
In the court.
or the post credits? Okay.
Sal, you gonna say
Like high 6, low 7, like it more leaning towards like a high 6. It's a better first episode than what Hawkeye had. It's a better first episode than what Moon Knight had.
Yep.
I mean, you don't just stop comparing anything to Loki. I think Loki's the best thing they've put out. Loki's probably the best thing they've put out on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
In terms of like the TV shows, it's a cross up between like that and What If, but I think I lean more towards Loki.
Really? That you didn't?
Yeah.
WandaVision's not on that top.
Top 3.
Yeah.
WandaVision doesn't take my top 2 spots.
Hmm.
It was real WandaVision's, but hold on, like Loki's like my 9, and WandaVision's 8. You know, what if comes in at like a high 8, maybe. If we got that extra episode that we were supposed to have, What If would have been a 9 too.
Hmm.
Yeah, look for a solid 6. You know, burning. What was the episode? 35 minutes.
30, yeah.
You know, I got
40 something.
Yeah,
No, I think it was
Yeah,
like 37
well-
minutes or something. It was short.
yeah, like with credits, maybe it's 40 minutes. I
Yeah.
think the whole thing is like 36, 37 minutes. For 37 minutes of my time, yeah, hell yeah,
Yeah.
wasn't bad.
Already have the
I
app.
did-
We didn't have to like sign up for something new. Didn't have to pay any extra. Like,
Yeah, for what it's worth, I was entertained. There is that her speech is pandering, and I rolled my eyes really hard at that. Like, yeah, there are struggles, and there is a lot of disrespect with women that gets accepted, but they put it on really,
it was
really
really
thick.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah, super
Yeah.
thick, and that you could have gotten your point across without that. Even the bar fight scene, like, all right, guys are catcalling her. You know what she could have did? She could have turned and like roared at them and had them run. I mean, someone says mean things to you and you hit them, it's still assault.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what your angle is to start it up.
Yeah.
If she would have turned and roared and they scared the hell out of them, and they all ran falling over each other, that would have been pretty cool. I would have preferred that.
But
I don't think she had to throw them through the wall.
But that scene was just so. That was like just like the speech. I feel like that scene was so forced. Like the video I
Yeah,
sent you,
yeah,
with,
agree.
where Vito's talking about it. You know, he references like Captain Marvel had that same exact scene. Like,
Yeah.
like it's been so common. My first thought was Terminator 2. I was like, oh, it's a Terminator 2 thing, which again, Captain Marvel just stole from that and a bunch of other examples he gave. But I was just like, they weren't even like near a bar. Like,
What do you mean? The give me your pants, your boots, and your motorcycle?
yeah. Like I
That's
was
it.
just like,
Yeah.
this was like, they like literally they literally said to themselves, we need a scene where she's I am woman, hear me roar, put her in a bar. That they were in the middle of the jungle somewhere, and all of a sudden
If they
they're
would have
there. Like I was so confused.
Well,
done it with
no,
an actual
they were
roar,
just on a highway. Sorry, it wasn't that they were. I didn't get the impression that they were like miles and miles away from civilization. I figured they were just driving someplace, and like even if they were miles and miles away, I know it's not probably 100% canon. In Incredible Hulk, in one of his after one of his first transformation of the movie, he ends up in another country. So to
Right.
say that she, even if they were like miles away from something, to say that in her first transformation she didn't like leap herself back into civilization, I mean that's not a huge deal. And to be
I
clear,
think
sorry
they
to
imply she blacks out.
Yeah.
yeah, no, they say that she has no memory of it happening, which makes sense because this is the first time. So, and real quick, because I feel like I need to defend my 8 out of 10. I'm not saying it's like the top two or top number one Disney Plus show. I'm just saying, like, considering all the concern I had going into it, it is an eight. Like, it's much better than what I thought it was, and it's not perfect, but I would say an 8 out of 10.
Mm.
Uh, like you guys, I don't like the way that she just is like being a asshole to the Hulk, to her cousin. Sal and I have talked about it, and they haven't played it up in the movies because they haven't dealt with him directly, really. But like the Hulk is basically his pent up rage at watching his father beat and ultimately kill his mother. So that's why it's a completely out of control childlike persona, and they haven't touched on that. I'm okay with her having more control out of the gate because I don't. Again, I'm not well versed in her from the comics. I don't think she has that level of trauma, but they play it like they're cousins. They play it like they're very close, like brother sister relationship. And if if they say that she doesn't know, that's one thing. But I also think that then there's you know they got to get on the same page because you're implying that they're super close, but she doesn't know like this huge thing about him.
Yeah.
So and she's stronger than, let's call him Professor Hulk.
Right.
You saw when he got pissed a little bit, then he launches that rock into orbit.
Right.
So there is like he's holding the Hulk back because he's a geek in a jock's body. He's
Mm.
basically the Rock in Jumanji. He's a geeky guy got control of the Rock's body.
Mm.
That's what it is. A geeky the Banner got control of the Hulk, and you saw it in Endgame. He doesn't like, oh, I gotta rip my shirt off. Okay, I'm gonna pound on the car. The car doesn't break in one hit. He has to hit it a couple times, and then it starts to dent. So when he gets a little worked up and pissed off, yeah, sure. Then he launches the rock farther than she ever could. And Sal mentioned I would have to watch it again, but he said, Sal, you can back me up. You said you caught that, like, she kind of looks at him like, oh shit, I'm not going to try that. I can't do that.
Yeah, at least that's the vibe I got. Where he was, he launched it and it had like you could see like the rock bursts into flames. It has like exit
Yeah.
velocity,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and she was just kind of like, she didn't pick up another rock.
Yeah.
Like that would have pissed me off if she would have picked up and tried, but she didn't even pick up another rock.
Yeah. I mean, I hear everything you guys are saying. I'm gonna keep watching it. Like that's gonna continue. But it's not as bad as Miss Marvel. I couldn't even. I tried. I could not keep, and I liked episode 1. So this one, I'm like, all right, the Daredevil thing is gonna keep me. Like I have to, but I just felt like it was. It's. I think at the end of the day, we've said this about other franchises. I feel like it's just not for me anymore. Like I like they're not worried about me. What I enjoy is not what's cool now. So
I mean, I just
Yeah,
want good
that's the thing. It's
storytelling.
definitely not.
yeah,
We're not even getting that. We're
But I
getting
mean, yeah, but also good storytelling doesn't have to be you ripping down another character, like, because that's the other thing too. It makes her look, frankly, it makes her, to me, it made her look like a bitch. Like she
Yeah.
said, "Oh, I'm just better than you. I'm just better than you."
Yeah.
Like you're not. The guy is the Hulk. The guy, you know what's been going on. It's not a secret. You know everything he's been through. You know everything that's happened to the world. He's saying, "Hey, you really need to take time and figure this out." And you're saying, "I'm good.
Yeah.
Fuck you. I'm good. I can drive a car. You just turned 16, and I'm gonna show you how to drive a car." No, no, no. I got it. Okay. And I feel like they're gonna do that, and she's gonna hit the proverbial brick wall, and then he's gonna show up for a minute, and then they're gonna, oh, okay, now I get it. I have to learn. I have to train. Blah blah blah. And it's like,
Yeah.
if you do
yeah,
that, then you're just kind of making her look like an idiot.
but they do that in movies with teenage boys all the time. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. And maybe that's her story arc, maybe and then it makes sense. Like once we get to the end, it's like, oh, like her story arc does include learning opportunity.
Yeah.
And I'll be fine with that. If at the end of the day they end up that this was all intentional, they full circle character development, she's like, hey, you know what? Like I do have to use my powers. Great power, great responsibility. Like then fine. But as it stood on the one, I was like, oof. And it broke my rule. The amount of trailers and clips that dropped before, I knew.
Oh yeah, they did do a lot, didn't they?
Yeah.
They had a teaser. I put it on TikTok and somebody was like going at me like, oh, you guys are never happy with anything. I'm like, they dropped the official teaser trailer to She-Hulk at like 4 trailers deep. What is it? Why even? What's a tease about it at this point?
Yeah. Exactly.
So,
What's it a tease? They showed pretty much the whole first episode.
yeah. So I was like,
I didn't think we saw anything new.
yeah. So
That's a problem.
Yeah. Well, before we wrap, any last thoughts or concerns, comments, questions?
No, She-Hulk's all right, but it's like just good enough to get me by, something to watch.
Yeah.
Still muscling through Sandman. Sandman's great. Trying to find time for Superman and Lois, but there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. Anthony, final thoughts?
I'm terrified of what they're going to do with Daredevil.
Yeah.
So please don't turn him into Spider-Man. Don't, like, okay, fine. He's a little lighter because he's not dealing with his stuff at the moment, but like, we don't need to see him in as dark a place as season 3, assuming that's canon, but also he's not Spider-Man. If he comes flipping in and all of a sudden he's making like quips and one-liners and he's not comfortable talking or whatever, no, just, don't do that to us, please. Don't do that to him.
Yeah.
Can we all agree we didn't deserve season 1?
Yeah, that's what I always say. That like season 1.
Oh yeah.
Season 2 even, like, it's just so good for no reason.
Here. I thought I was the only one here who likes season 2.
What? Really?
I like season 2. Season 2 is good.
I thought
Not as good as season
for some
1.
reason I thought I was the only one. Well, I mean, if they stopped after season 1, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I liked all the seasons of it. I think my only issues were the other shows. Like I had issues with those shows, but Daredevil on its own, I rewatched, no issue.
Oh wow, because I feel like, and I'm sorry, I know we have to wrap. I thought at least you, Steve, weren't happy that they went with like the hand and everything. I thought you didn't like that they started to get to the superhero stuff. I thought you wanted it to stay more street level Kingpin-esque stories.
Yeah, I know what you're referring to. My issue with the hand was I felt like they didn't wrap that up very well. Like the whole they went to that place and then there was a hole in the ground. That didn't make sense to me. I think you had explained more of that to me, and I was like, oh, I guess I see it. But I thought the hand was getting very supernatural, and then when it got to the final fight on the roof, that seemed very rushed to me. I was like, they made the hand seem to be this massive organization, like thousands of ninjas. And then the final scene was like them versus like 15 people. Not even. That's probably a stretch.
No, 15's highball, and it's like 7.
Yeah. And I was like, I was waiting for like the next round. I was thinking Ninja Turtles on the roof. Raph beats all the foot soldiers the first wave.
Yeah.
How you guys expect to beat me? And they all show up.
Good answer. They all drop on.
Good answer.
Good answer.
That should have been how they did it.
That was such a good scene.
But it was still a good scene, yeah.
No, I mean the Raph scene. Now I want to go watch.
It's funny. I was gonna make a TikTok about this, but Marvel movies up to Guardians of the Galaxy, to me, is TMNT 1990. Once we pass Guardians of the Galaxy, we are now in Secret of the Ooze, that wave, and we all know what's going to come after Secret of the Ooze, and that's where I feel like Marvel is right now.
We're hitting the Turtles in Time phase.
We're about to hit Turtles in Time.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, Turtles in Time was a video game, right?
No, that was a movie.
The movie.
What was the movie?
It's both.
Well, the movie's just the plot. It's similar to Turtles in Time game.
Yeah, but what was the movie's title? I forget.
I don't think it had a subtitle. That's why I think I made the mistake. I think it was just Ninja Turtles 3. And Turtles in Time was the Super Nintendo game. Or the arcade?
Yeah.
The Nintendo game.
Yeah, it's just 3.
Interesting.
Oh, and I guess just to wrap on Turtles, I did try to watch that new animated movie that I was hearing good things about, and didn't do
it. The Seth Rogen one?
No, that's not out yet. They did an animated movie to finish out the current cartoon series, and
I don't even know about that.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. It is more mature than the. I feel like that's the running joke. Like everybody wants things to be darker and more adult, but it truly is like it opens up and somebody's like bleeding on screen, and apparently the cartoon was super lighthearted. So I started watching it and I just couldn't get into it. Godspeed to anybody else. I heard it was a good show, but no go for me.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well.
All right.
That wraps another fun, exciting episode of Hey Archer, episode 139 here on Nerd Affiliated. Make sure you head up to nerdaffiliated.com, get yourself some cool merch, mugs, t-shirts, all that fun stuff. New drop coming in the next couple weeks. Make sure you give us a like, subscribe on YouTube if you're listening to it, leave a good review, share it with your friends. Best podcast around. I don't think anybody knows more than 3 of us combined. Freaking Voltron on this bitch.
Nah. Yeah, we got it.
So, from Sal and Anthony, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm going to mute Sal because he has some guests apparently in the room. And we'll talk to all you nerds in the next video. Peace.
See ya. Carpe Noctem.